Okay, so we're here before the kickoff, the final Euros with
Matty.
Right, score prediction first of all. We'll just go straight into it.
It's going to be tight. I think 1-1, and we'll win on pens.
Pens, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you more confident of England penalties after this tournament? Because obviously historically we've always done really shite. This one, it seems like the penalties, the way we're taking them, are fantastic. Are you a bit more assured with this bunch?
I think we're good at penalties under Southgate.
Yeah.
We've won, how many it is now? Three penalty shootouts. And obviously, historically, we won fuck all.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, I think we're good at penalties now. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm confident on penalties. So, look, Spain are a good team. And I think
are these the favourites as well? Because obviously everyone said before we drew them, these were the best ones in the tournament. For you, are they the best ones in the tournament?
Well, I was on Bet365 before, and there were the favourites on there, and they seem to know what they're doing. Yeah. So I personally, I said Germany or Spain were the best teams in the tournament from what I watched, and obviously Spain knocked them out. So I think it's the toughest game yet.
We haven't had many tough ones. We've actually getting a really lucky draw sort of thing. So how have you thought on the way that England have getting into the final as well?
Yeah, but honestly, I've been watching the tournament. I think all the games have been tough, and I think a lot of big teams who you would think would do well have struggled. Yeah. And there's teams like Switzerland have done well because they've still got really good players. So there's Southgate in England, and we can get a lot of grief. But honestly, I think it's been a tough tournament. You've seen a lot of big teams struggle, and we've got through it all. So I know I've rode well at times, but hey, it doesn't matter. We're in the final, does it?
And Southgate in or Southgate out, he's taken a whole hell of a lot of criticism by a lot of fans throughout this tournament. What's your thoughts on him? And what were they all throughout as well?
I think in football...
I'm fucking wrong! I'm a fucking arse! Yeah!
We'll edit that one.
I think in football, it's about results. A lot of people have been going... Southgate out, he's too negative. Look at the players we've got. You look at Germany's squad, you look at Spain's squad, you look at Belgium's squad, they've all got good teams. I think it's about, at the end of the day, it's about getting the finals, it's about getting the semi-finals, winning games, and that's what he's done. So for me, he's done well. Apart from winning the tournament, he's done everything we can ask for.
Yeah, and does he stay, win or lose?
For me, yes, because he's got the best record, and he's got now 2 finals, obviously a semi-final and a quarter-final, and if you look at the history of managers, I don't know who replaces him. The only other thing is, I'm worried that if he does go, Eddie Howe will get the knock on the door, which we can't have that coming.
No, he's got to be. I mean, I looked at the stats as well on the betting bookies and stuff like that. It was Graham Potter as well, who was one stage the favourite replacement. You think that... I mean, I'm not exactly a massive Gareth Southgate fan, but he couldn't do much more. But Potter, I don't see as a massive sort of...
Nah, I mean, I can understand why they would look at Graham Potter. Obviously, he's not in a job at the minute, but I'm worried about Eddie Howe. Yeah. So
it's obvious
it's an obvious choice, and obviously he's a really good manager. So keep Southgate in for a few years, and then until we win the league and the Champions League, and then he can go and do what he wants.
Right. Speaking of England as well, speaking of Newcastle, we're going to do some word association. So we'll start off as well with Gordon, who hasn't featured. Were you expecting him to start a lot more? I think a lot of Newcastle fans were. I thought he'd done really well in the warm-up games. I thought he stood out. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit disappointed for him. I know you'd be gutted about that, but in fairness, you can't. When you're a player, you can't argue if we've got the final. Yeah, and Eze's been ahead of him as well. Do you think that's right, or what?
Well, I was at Crystal Palace away with Newcastle, and I thought Eze was unbelievable, and I think Eze can play at the top level. So look, we've got loads of good young players in attacking positions. Which is crazy, to be honest, because we've got that many good players in attacking positions. You can only play a couple of them, so that's the hard decision. So I'm not that surprised, because we've got really, really good players. It's a hard choice.
Yeah, and then next one, Pickford. So he's a Mackham, so he's always well hated by Newcastle fans. I think he's had a fantastic tournament. How do you see his tournament for England?
Honestly, I don't rate him massively high as a goalkeeper, but for England, he's always done well. So even though he's a Mackham, and it goes against everything I believe in, fair play to him, he's done well.
Yeah. Mark Gahey.
Yeah, very, very solid. Being even more impressive with him than John Stones. I think he's probably been my best centre-half.
Yeah. And then Mainu as well. He's come on a few times, got a few minutes in him.
I thought last game he was really, really good, especially in the first half. I was really impressed with him. Obviously, he's been min for Man U. Very, very good.
Future star for England, do you reckon, in a few years?
Yeah, but the problem is we've got that much talent coming through to hold your place in the team. I think it's going to be tough. I think honestly, you've got to keep every season. You've got to keep kicking on.
Yeah, and then Bellingham as well. He's obviously West Star going into this, almost eclipsing Harry Kane. Almost.
He is. I mean, honestly, he's the shouts for Ballon d'Or now. I think if we win tonight, he could be shouts for Ballon d'Or. Even though I think he hasn't played that well this tournament, he's won the Champions League, he's won La Liga, and if he wins the Euros as well, I mean, you can't really argue, can you?
Yeah. And then Trippier, he's played out of position a lot of the tournament. What are your thoughts for him?
Well, my thoughts on Trippier, and that when we were playing a back four, is that he should have played on the right and Kyle Walker play on the left, because for Newcastle, he gets assists, he's balls through, unbelievable. He's right, because he's playing on his right. I think he would be better on the right, playing those balls through, than Kyle Walker be on his left foot, who's less effective at doing that. But hey, I think he's actually done pretty decent. Yeah. I think Shaw will start tonight though.
Yeah, I think so as well. Is there anyone who's picked your eyes for the Euros as well, for signing them for Newcastle? Obviously the transfer window is open. Is there a position? Because obviously we've got Botman out injured, but they're attacking wise.
If we can get Rodri, that would be a good one.
Smash the record.
I don't think we're ever going to fucking get him, but I fucking love him. I think he's absolutely unbelievable.
Is there anyone that you thought realistic that Newcastle could maybe go for?
I'm not sure. I mean, one that is unreal is Mikel Merino. That I thought he was mint when we had him under Rafa, and then we got rid of him. Obviously, because he didn't fancy him, but he's done well.
Sick a little bit as well. There's a lot of stories and rumours, wasn't there? Around
he's done well ever since, and I think he's been mint. So,
a crucial goal for them as well. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know how much we'd have to pay for him now, but I think he would suit our midfield really, really well.
Talks whenever he's asked about Newcastle in interviews, he always talks promisingly and stuff. So you think maybe if we put a bid in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Germany have got. It's a shame that Musiala didn't play for England, because I know he had the choice, and he chose Germany. But he is some player as well, isn't he? So I'm just talking about the best players. If we can get all the best players, we'll fucking win it next year.
Right, there we go then, mate. Thank you very much.